Hey guys, how's it going? Jordy here. I want to show you a couple fishing knots. These are the knots that are used. Excuse my rope on the camera stand for a minute. These are the knots that I use to tie, fishing hooks onto your fishing line. I'm going to show you the one that I use in almost every situation. This is the classic old trilene knot. It's the first knot I learned how to tie. My daddy taught me how to tie it when I was probably about 10 or 12 years old. And I use it for any monofilament fishing line. I won't use it on braids, but for any monofilament, it's by far the best. There's a version of that knot that's a slightly older version that's really common, a very traditional knot known as the fisherman's knot. I'll show you that one first. The trilene knot is a slight upgrade with one simple little difference, but it makes it about 45% stronger. So the fisherman's knot first. I'll use my S hook here as my oversized fish hook so you can see. That'll be my eye right there. Before we get completely started, I want to tell you the three terms that I'm going to use here for tying knots. When you're working with any cordage, be it a string or a knot, a string or a rope, for the purpose of tying and learning to tie knots, we use some basic terminologies. Number one is the working end. The working end is this piece. It's the end that does all the wrapping and through-ing and bowing and wowing. We have the bite. Anytime we do this, this is a bite. It's of that loop. When we make an intentional loop, we're making a bite. So that's a bite. And then everything else, that end of the rope that we're not using is called the standing end. So those are the terminologies that I'll be using to help teach you this knot tying properly and quickly. So we take the working end of the rope, pass it through the eye of the hook, and I'm going to wrap the working end around the standing part 5 times. 5 complete revolutions. We have once, twice, thrice, 4-ice, 5-ice, or whatever, 5 times around. And then you take your working end, you pass it through this bite that we have now created with all of our winds. We pass it through that bite, and we snug it up. Give it a little tension, snug it up. Give it a little tension. I'm pulling both directions on that. Snug it up a little. Give it a little tension. Snug it up. If you're tying this in monofilament line, it snugs up really, really easy, but still, you want to kind of push it up a little bit to snug up these winds. You want them snug and tight, and each wind will bear part of the tension of the knot. If any of them are loose, your knot's much weaker. That's the fisherman's knot. Let's get a close-up. We can see the wraps around here. We've got one bite of fishing line across the eye of the hook. That's our load-bearing zone right here. This is where the knot will snap, right there. And we've got our side wind piece that wraps up here, goes through that bite up there. That just locks it in place. This piece is now the tag, what you would trim off nice and short, and you got your nice knot. We're going to tie the trilene knot next. It's the same thing with one small difference, and there's nothing tricky about it. If you're not used to this one, at least give it a shot sometimes on any monofilament line. Let's get back to that close-up mode. Okay, get my hook up there. So for this knot, we're going to take the working end of the rope, pass it through the eye of the hook, and now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to create a bite here by going a complete loop. So we're going to take the working end, pass it through a second time. I'll back up again in case you need to follow better. We go through once. We bring the working end up and through the eye of the hook a second time. Just like in the fisherman's knot, I'm going to hold this bite in place because I need this later, but I'm going to take my working end and wrap it around 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Slide them up together just to make it manageable because my rope is so big. And we pass the working end through this now what is a double bite because we have 2 loops here. Pass it through. Now that's the difference between this and the fisherman's knot. We're going to slide it up. So on the rope I actually have to slide it up. With monofilament line, you just kind of pull it and it slides itself up. But you do a little bit, slight snug up with the thumb a little bit, not much. We're going to give it a snug and a pull, like that. Nice and snug, and this knot, we trim it off there to make it nice and clean for fishing. But this is the premier knot if you're using a monofilament line that you're just attaching to a simple clip or a swivel or a hook. Now some guys will do more twists than this. I won't. I tried that for a long time, working on different numbers of twists. 5, 6, 7, 8. Who do we appreciate? Once you get past 5 times around, there's no difference in how well the knot holds and binds or how strong it is. It's not going to slip any less if you go 6 or 7 twists around. But you start getting such a longer knot that it shows, and I have found on more than one occasion, actually, I mean, noticeable most times when I'm fishing. If I tie too many loops around, too many twists around that standing part there, I don't get as many bites, particularly when the bluegills are being real finicky. You got to go with that real ultralight tackle. You're using a thin fluorocarbon line. You're trying to really just gently coax them in a pressured area. Don't do too many wraps. 5 is optimal. Anyways, that is the trilene knot and the fisherman's knot. I'm going to hang my rope back up. That's my mooring rope for the flat bottom. I'll probably end up showing you my braid knot in the next video, the Palomar knot. Not everybody likes that knot and everybody knows about it, but if you're using a braid, don't tie these knots that I just showed you on a braided line. I have not only lost fish, I've lost lures casting and the lure slid off. I've lost lures trolling. I mean, casting or Rapala, there it goes. It didn't break the line, it just the knot slipped. These knots can and do tend to slip on the really thin braid. It's just so thin it doesn't bind up with the twists well, and that's what the Palomar knot's for. Anyways, I'll let you go. No need to keep you. Catch you later. Bye now. See you on the water.